welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me as always is Trevor Scott.
Yeah, just trying to screw up Ben as he's opening
just talking
the episode.
Right over the top of me.
Talking right
Should
over
we
the
have
top.
a new... so this is season 2.
Welcome to season two
of Bitstorm.
It's a little bit looser.
Yeah, should we have a new catchphrase, like intro? I don't know. We didn't talk about it until
We didn't talk about it until just now. I think let's simplify it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A comedic game design podcast.
It's just that.
It's just that.
It's
by two guys who know nothing about comedy long games.
Oh, okay, yeah. We're just a longer pause in there. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that. I don't know. You'd think after 8 years or 7-8 years, we'd have learned something about either comedy or game design, but I don't know.
No time to learn.
No.
It's all about the doing. We're doers.
That's it. We're doers in that we do come up with ideas and then don't do anything with them. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're thinkers. We're I-doers.
We're I-doers. Yeah, I know.
Tonight, right now, first episode, season 2, we're going to do some movies.
Yes, and not random.
Movies as our prompt. And what this means is that we are each going to get a random movie from, I think, the
IMDb.
From IMDb, some sort of IMDb-like thing. And we are going to come up with a game design, either based on the movie itself, like as if it was an imaginary tie-in that came out with that movie, or we might just use the title or the plot of the movie to riff on and use as a jumping-off point for a game.
Yeah.
So I think let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Let's 3, 2, 1 movie.
3, 2, 1 movie.
Okay, I have My Dinner with Andre.
And I have Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London.
That's a great combo. That is a great combo. My Dinner with Agent Cody Banks.
Exactly.
Okay, I kind of like the idea of it starting as this very low-key kind of, not quite visual novel, but it's very much around conversation. I'm picturing sort of a low poly-ish 3D kind of environment. You come in, you sit down.
Yeah.
You know, there's sort of ambiance going on.
You're having a nice conversation, you're having dinner, and all of a sudden he pulls a gadget out onto the table and he's just...
That's it. I think he turns out to, the person you're having dinner with turns out to be like a super spy, and it's kind of how you deal with this situation.
Yeah, and it turns out that, he's there for the dinner, but he's also there because, it just so happens that, this is where a deal is going down just at the next table. So he's a little bit split between the two, but always waiting for his, the time being right in the conversation, not yours, but their conversation, and then he'll take them out, and then he'll put all his focus on you.
So I haven't watched My Dinner with Andre. I have heard it's very good.
It was the same.
No, it's got Wallace Shawn in it. I do think that they're old friends or something that haven't seen each other in a long time, so I kind of like that idea of it, where this is like someone you went to university with or something.
I mainly know it from that Community episode.
Yeah, for sure. But I like that idea of you're trying to catch up with this person. You're trying to find out what's going on in their life. And they don't tell you almost at any point that they're a spy. It's just in their actions.
No, and you know that they were your good high school friend, and you're just catching up.
Yeah.
They just so happen to also be on the job.
Yeah, which you were completely unaware of, and then you get to choose how you react to this.
Yeah. Now,
and that kind of drives...
do you keep it cool as a cucumber, or do you ask questions about... So I love the idea of, up comes like a little timer, as well as these are the things that you can say. One of the things is just to say nothing. Kind of like...
in a very telltale-ish kind of...
Very telltale-ish kind of way.
Yeah.
But this works really well for this, because if you bring to mind, you ask that question about,
what's that device you just put on the table that's glowing?
It's just a transponder, Haven't you ever seen a transponder
Just a
before?
run-of-the-mill transponder?
Yeah. And he could take offense to that if you've asked about 13 things beforehand. But if this is the first time you've asked about something, then maybe he doesn't. He goes,
what's that? It's a watch.
It's a watch that just happens to glow.
What's this thing? My fork. I'm trying to eat my dinner.
You could just imagine he walks out after you ask, questions about regular things.
Yeah.
But if you ask...
Well, actually, that's an interesting idea, because you could kind of do it as a bit of a point-and-click-ish sort of thing, where there's a bunch of hotspots, essentially. Like, there's a bunch of different objects that you can click on, and as part of... Essentially, clicking on things brings them into the conversation, right? Like, it's not a inventory puzzle sort of thing. It's this is the topic I want to talk about. And so we could have a bunch of those things. But, like, in most adventure games... But you want to click on everything, right? Because you want all the information you can get. But I feel like it'd be really interesting to have that exact thing. It's like, if you click on too many mundane things in just a short amount of time, he's just going to think you're nuts and leave. And it's game over.
Or it turns out that every time you've clicked on something, you've actually reached over, put your grubby mitts on it, and it's like, dude, that's my fork. Like, what do you...
I love that. There's that very classic thing now. I think it sort of started with Gone Home, in a way of, like, picking up the item and it's just floating in front of you. You can rotate it to, like, look at it. It's sort of a bit of a higher quality view.
And then you can put it down
Like,
again.
you start doing that and he's commenting on it.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you just, like, holding... The wine glass in front of you and rotating it in weird ways. It's all real time.
Don't touch that.
You do it from on someone else's table.
There's something about that that's just so good.
He starts to comment on your apparent telekinesis because it's just floating in front of you.
Well, your hands have been by your side the entire time, but things are floating and moving.
That's a different game, but I do like that idea of taking tropes from games that are like there for technical reasons, but then commenting on them as if they're actually there in the universe of the game. That's really
yeah.
But no, with this one, I think, I do like that idea of having a lot of different things you can bring into the conversation and sort of having to pick them at the right time. And then obviously, he's bringing things out at different times. I wonder if you can kind of tie in the history with that person, with whatever is going on, like the mission that he's on or that sort of thing. I don't know, like, I feel like there needs to be some sort of link there.
Yeah. Well, what if your character was an unreliable narrator?
Yeah.
So, in other words, you were actually part of, like, this is actually a trap for this agent. And you...
Oh, I see. Yep.
So, all you're trying to do is just keep him distracted. And you didn't realise that that's what you were trying to do. But, it's
you didn't realise as the player.
As a player. It's one of those things where...
It's a reveal,
where, we were talking about this when we were doing Impro about... We like mysteries where the character knows things that the actor playing them doesn't. So the idea,
and in this case, as the player, you're essentially the actor,
yeah,
and the viewer,
So you find out something new that this your character has known all along, but I know it kind of feels like this could be a perfect opportunity to have that,
I like the idea of it potentially even being an alternate ending because you are playing it in that way. Depending on how you go, whether you interact with the people he's listening on or like, whether you help him with that or different things or whether you let him leave. Like if you do the thing where you just comment on everything and he gets pissed off and leaves, then they come over to you and they're like, what the fuck, man? Like, you screwed up this operation completely. Like, we were,
all you had to do was keep him here and just talk. Like, And that's one of the endings.
That's one of the endings.
Okay,
but if you do it in a different way and just really focus on like the conversation about your old high school and almost ignore the spy stuff that's going on, then actually it's just that you were trying to catch up with him and you're not working for them at all, and maybe some shit goes down.
Yeah,
and but yeah, I kind of like that idea of the ending then reflecting on all of your choices taken, depending on how essentially just what ending you give them,
or you just go, you did the job too well, and you kept him talking, but we didn't get the bug planted on him because he never left the table because he was too
right, he was too engrossed in the conversation. Yeah,
so. I don't know.
And then the perfect ending is literally you're having a really good conversation with him. It's a good balance of his work and your job, and then right at the end of the conversation, as the bill comes, the waiter just shoots him in the back of the head because they're working for the bad guys as well. It's like, good job, you kept him here long enough.
The entire restaurant is just part and parcel of this giant organization.
Everyone in the restaurant turns around and gives you a thumbs up. They've all got eye patches on and beards, goatees.
I know. I really love this idea. I think that's such a cool, fun thing that
I mean, I setting in a single location, it's a fun constraint.
Exactly.
Just bringing that down to that level. So it's cool.
Yeah. All right. Let's 3, 2, 1 movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know this one at all. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
I've got a movie that could be a little bit weird, called The Forest.
Okay.
I believe it sounds kind of horror-y. Set in the Aikagara Forest, a real-life place in Japan where people go to end their lives. Against this backdrop, a young American woman comes in search of her twin sister who has mysteriously disappeared. This feels kind of thrillery, which, it's interesting.
Whereas mine is the unlikely friendship of a boy, a mole, a fox, and a horse traveling together in the boy's search for home.
In the Aikagara Forest.
In the Aikagara Forest. I was going to say it could be interesting to do a horror-ish sort of thing with a young child, but I feel like young children and horror. I mean, often it's young children being the horrific thing.
Yeah, or it's like Poltergeist, where they get trapped in something and then they're not around for most of the film. But
I'm just thinking of it now. I'm wondering, maybe we don't want something about dramatically traumatizing that 7-year-old boy or something.
Yeah.
So maybe we veer away from the. Well,
we could go with my other one.
Well, hang on.
I've got another movie.
Let's stick with it. Let's stick with this because. Okay. Let's not take it as a young child when we say the boy.
Yeah.
But I feel like the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse, that's actually the creature. That's the.
Oh, it's like a sphinx. It's an amalgamation of all these things.
It's either an amalgamation or it takes on different forms, or you can change parts of it to be these different things. And so it's just this really uncanny creature.
Oh yeah. And it lives in a forest, and
it lives in a forest, yeah. And then we can take some of the more maybe traditional horror-ish tropes of as they try to figure out what this thing is. I like the idea that it's not immediately clear whether it's malicious or not. It could just be a creature, but it's also got it's also a boy in quotes, a man.
So I like
it's
the idea.
Definitely thinking.
I like the idea of sort of this person's come to follow their mentor. Their mentor has recently come through this forest, and they got sent a notebook that has all these notes, but there's a few
drawings of animals and
drawings and this sort of stuff. And basically, you've come to see where they are because they've mysteriously disappeared, and this notebook just turned up. And as you go, because these pages are being ripped out, you find them scattered throughout,
classic,
different different sort of, I don't know, hidey holes and that sort of stuff as you sort of follow.
Mole holes,
maybe. But the idea of
horse holes,
following your mentor and that sort of stuff is, kind of tropey, but also kind of takes that kind of walking simulator, a la you're going home, your Firewatch, in just, a little bit more of a thrillery, monster huntery sort of way, where you could have, some different things happen along the way, and you end up in a cabin, and you find out that yes, your mentor has been here and he lit a fire, and it feels like the fire's still kind of warm, or the scene coming out of a coffee cup on there, and it's like, it was so close by.
I like the idea. So I think a key part of those walking simulators is making sure that the story or characterizations are progressing enough that it's not boring, that you're not just like, I don't know where to go next and nothing's happening. So I like the idea of a little bit of inner monologue kind of stuff from your character, but then also the mentor, perhaps when you find the parts of the notepad and stuff, at certain points you'll hear the mentor in your head kind of saying the things on the notepad or things you remember, or even, and then you get to the cabin, it's like, you sort of visualize what they were doing there.
You either visualize what they were doing there, or you go to a scene that sort of evokes a memory of that, for sure. Maybe you've actually been to this cabin before and you just didn't realize, and it's like, when I was going through this training with my mentor, he took me here, and it plays a scene from back then. And, I like the idea of, hiding some things within those scenes that, the boy mole horse thing is sort of seen in the background somewhere, and you just didn't realize it at the time.
I feel like what we want to do is you realize that your mentor is now searching for this creature. They've been doing this research or whatever, they've been doing this training. I don't know what they're trained you in or whatever it is, but xenozoology or something, whatever. Cryptozoology.
Yeah, cryptozoology. I like that.
Yeah. So it's basically this cryptid that they're hunting.
Yeah.
At least that's what you see as you're finding more and more of this notepad. You're getting a picture of what this thing is. You're like, what? It can burrow underground, but also it can run really fast. And then you find handprints from it or something. It's like, what's going on? And so you're like, did he find it? Did your mentor find this thing? But definitely, I feel like at the end you find out that your mentor is this thing.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Either that, or this is its child, like your mentor's child. That
right, they created it in some sort of
actual child, and it was slightly
mutated,
unnatural, and everyone shunned. Shame.
Or your mentor was so into cryptozoology that when they found a cryptid,
they fucked it.
Cryptid Love Child, title of the episode.
Cryptid Love Child.
All right, 3, 2, 1 movie. Oh, this is an old one. Carnival of Souls from 1962.
Ooh. Splice.
Ooh, from 1962.
From 2010. So that's the M.
Night.
Yeah.
No. Oh, no, that's the... I'm thinking of...
Split.
What's the... Split. I'm thinking of Split.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
Splice,
I remember. Yeah, it was like a
creature called Dren who develops from a deformed female infant into, a dangerous winged chimera.
It was not a good movie. I don't recall thinking it was, but it's got some cool ideas.
Okay, so I love the idea of Carnival of Souls. I love the idea of this. I don't pretend to know what Carnival of Souls is that much, other than the fact that I'm picturing it's a traveling carnival.
I'll give you the thing.
Yeah.
Mary Henry ends up the sole survivor of a fatal car accident through mysterious circumstances. Trying to put the incident behind her, she moves to Utah and takes a job as a church organist, but her fresh start is interrupted by visions of a chimera-like creature that came from a female thing in a test... No. Interrupted by visions of a fiendish man.
Yeah. I was thinking...
You were like, whoa, this lines up really well.
This lines up really well with the chimera.
No, it's just a weird deserted carnival.
I love that trope of, you know, you're going through this where you know someone says, oh, well, you know, that carnival hasn't been around for 50 years. You know, why today's the anniversary. You know, that whole trope of
for sure. Well, it'd be interesting to do a bit of the 60s vibe.
Yeah.
Then the aesthetic.
60s Americana or 60s Australiana? There's no reason why it can't be Australian. Sadly, I would be more familiar with Americana, but yeah, it could be. You could do 60s Australiana. I don't know how different. I'm thinking Beatles mania. So if you can get some of the Beatles, like at least some of the posters,
they'll license their songs to anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Jackson owns it now, so his estate does, so they'll sell it to anyone. You know,
yeah,
they're always looking for more money. So anyway,
all right. So, Carnival of Souls, chimera-like creature.
Fuck Splice.
Definitely a love story.
Fuck Splice. I love the idea of the carnival that, you know, it's small town. Thinking Victoria, because I know Victoria a lot more, and you know, the carnival comes through, and you know, some people go missing, and the carnival leaves, and you know, you try to find, you know, you may be looking into, you know, your friends, you're all going through like this haunted house, you know, one of those sort of haunted house rides or whatever. Yeah. And you came out, but your friends didn't.
Oh God. Okay.
But then when you go to, you're checking on, you know, it was this company who ran this carnival.
Yep.
You can't find any reference to it in the library or anything like that. You go to talk to people,
go through the carnival. Like,
there was no carnival that came through town. And
right,
so the whole thing of
like, is the whole town gaslighting me, or
sort of thinking that movie with Jodie Foster, Flight Plan, where everyone gaslit her into thinking that her child didn't exist, and she came onto the flight alone. That was that's
wild. I don't remember that.
It was a really cool movie because you know, basically her child had gone missing, and everyone said, you're always alone. You didn't come on with the child, but it's because her child was sleeping, because her child wasn't feeling that well. And when she finally,
so it was actually that most of the plane actually thought she didn't have a child. It was not that there was a huge conspiracy of everyone on the plane.
It just happened to be that, you know, I recommend watching it. I'm not going to say much more about it. It's really, really good. But just the idea of that gaslighting sort of thing of everyone, you know, you don't know whether this actually did happen.
Yeah.
Is this like your brain, you know, turning another traumatic moment and sort of wrapping it in this carnival sort of thing?
Well, I like then that you start having flashbacks to it, but only to certain sections that could be read differently, or that as they change as you remember them, but subtly. It's like, oh, you know, you remember a weird vampiric creature jumping out of a coffin, but as you remember it more and more, it's like, wait, was that actually just a dude in dark clothes jumping out of a doorway and snatching one of my friends?
It was in a cavern somewhere, and it was nowhere near this. But just the fact that your brain will try to protect you in any way, shape, or form, and it can sometimes make shit up. Like, brains are fucked up that way, you know?
It could be interesting to do from a UI and from a sort of very gamifying kind of way, where you have a goal to sort of clean up these memories, or to like find the actual memories, like restore your memories in a sense, which could be a really interesting way then to then mess with the player a bit, or like play on that, where it's like, oh, okay, you know, the game's telling me, all right, like 100% of this memory section restored or whatever. But you're like, wait, this thing still don't make sense. Like,
yeah.
And it's actually the game.
It's again your brain.
The game supporting the idea of false memories, basically, by telling you in a very game UI kind of way. Yeah. Playing with that could be really cool.
I mean, one of the things that I've been working on, like I've been doing an improv course about cinema and all that sort of stuff. One of the things that Stephen King does so well in this sort of stuff is everyone sort of acts really normal. And the conversations they have, there's always people that are really, really absolutely horrible people.
Yep.
And everyone just goes, oh, that's just Jimmy. Or that's just, you know, and no one ever does anything about it, even though this is the worst shit that you've ever
Which
sort of
is
seen.
just very realistic a lot of the time, because, like, unfortunately, there are people like that, and people often just support them, or you know, oh, well, boys will be boys, or whatever, you know.
But this could actually be a really cool way of having those sort of conversations when, you know, no one believes the child. You know, everyone basically people turn away from you and all this sort of stuff because they think that you had something to do with their disappearance. Because the kids have disappeared. It's just that, you know, you've got is this story about this carnival that no one else remembers. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the idea of playing with memories in that sense. Even to the point of maybe... I
love your idea about gamifying it and then having that not even be real. Like,
not be reliable, yeah. I do like that a lot.
Or it goes to 105% and 107%. Like, you break it, you know, not too far after. It's like, oh, God, so this is just another thing that is just bullshit, you know? Yeah.
It's a very Daniel Mullins kind of vibe. I feel like breaking the rules.
I can't wait for fucking Pony Island 2. That's going to be so fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's go again.
Let's go again. That was really cool. I really like that, and I like it when we come up with some real game ideas. Like,
yeah. Sometimes these end up just kind of being world building in a sense, but yeah. I feel like we've had some good games.
Ooh, me likey.
Okay. No, we'll go with the plot for this one, but the title's pretty good. Flamin' Hot.
Okay, I've got The Abyss.
Ooh, okay. Now, I haven't heard this story. This is a documentary. Okay. Or it's at least a true story. Sorry, it's a true story, so presumably a dramatization. The inspiring true story of Richard Montagnier, maybe, the Frito-Lay janitor who channeled his Mexican-American heritage and upbringing to turn the iconic Flamin' Hot Cheetos into a snack that disrupted the food industry and became a global pop culture phenomenon.
Wow. Okay. And then somehow The Abyss.
The Abyss.
Which, of course, is the James Cameron classic.
Yes.
Classic
the James
film.
Cameron.
Spectacular Odyssey, 25,000 feet below the ocean surface.
Don't know that I've ever actually watched.
Oh, have you not?
The Abyss.
It's really cool. So
I've seen a lot of the
I'll give you the synopsis. A civilian oil rig crew is recruited to conduct a search and rescue effort when a nuclear submarine mysteriously sinks.
So it's a reverse Armageddon.
Yeah, reverse Armageddon. Then, you know, one diver finds himself on a spectacular odyssey 25,000 feet below the ocean surface when he confronts a mysterious force that has the power to change the world or destroy it.
Okay.
But, you know,
all I know is the water snake, the water tube.
Yeah, everyone knows the water tube.
Waterworm.
I mean, whenever I think of the Abyss, I also think of the lesser Michael Crichton film.
Oh, Sphere?
Sphere.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
And,
Sharon Stone?
Sharon Stone. Yes, that's who I was trying to think of.
Look, I've watched The Abyss multiple times, and I've watched Sphere multiple times. Sphere gets absolutely canned. The Abyss is well received.
Yep.
There's something about, just that...
Sphere is very much more of this, like, alien technology that they've found, isn't it, or something? Or
yeah, it's like this spherical object that should not have been able to exist, and blah, blah, blah. And
so I think let's combine these. I think this is an underwater scientific adventure.
And it just so happens that...
But it's near...
you play a janitor called Roger Wilco. And he happens to create...
Reverse Space Quest.
An amazing... Well, it's not Space Quest.
Abyss Quest. I said Reverse Space Quest.
Reverse Space Quest. So it's Abyss Quest, yes.
Abyss Quest.
Or...
I do like the idea of you playing a janitor.
Sea Quest. DSP.
Damn stinking violent.
Yeah, damn stinking violent.
What I was going to say from the Flaming Hot is that this undersea science facility is like near the the volcanic vents.
Yeah.
Right? That's an aspect of it. And it's like the creatures and things that you're studying what's down there in the heated deep ocean. But yes, I do kind of like the idea. I was thinking of, it's the classic thing of an initial science expedition, blah, blah, blah. But I like the idea of it being an established science base down there to the point that, yes, they have staff like just
janitorial
chefs, HR.
What happens when, we've got, pressure is really heavy in this sort of section. Can you get over there and help clean up
with
the mess
your mop?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We've popped a few bolts, get them back in and clean up the water.
Those albino vent worms have made their way into the bathrooms again because they like to feed on human feces. Can you go in there and clean up that mess?
The captain got a real nasty surprise this morning.
They're getting too smart. They're heading for the source. But I like that idea of just like, you're having to deal with the creatures that they have found up there. It's like, the big fucking gulper thing is coming by again on its daily run through as it feeds on the weird insectoid.
So you know what we're going to do? Let out the waste just as it's coming by, and we'll take it.
So all the undersea creatures seem to really like human shit. I don't know what it is. It's a delicacy for them. And you as the janitor, Ben, that makes your job really important.
You are actually the most important person on this crew because you're the person who keeps everyone alive.
If you don't dispose of this stuff correctly, then we're going to be overrun.
Yeah, quite literally.
And then it becomes like a viscera cleanup. Like you're actually going around and like mopping stuff up. It's like a power wash simulator. You get some of that mundane kind of work in there. Literally mopping up shit.
Yeah,
while fighting off
sea creatures. Yeah.
Oh,
there's something about it. I really, really like that. I really do.
You could go wacky with it too.
Yeah.
You could lean into the absurdity and do a bit of a... What was that space game that was very much you had to just... sort of a survival game in space. And there was like chickens and cats and so... I don't know. Oh, damn it. Anyway, I'll think of it off air.
Okay.
Which is not
chickens
useful,
and
but
cats in space. Breath's Edge?
Yeah.
Breath Edge?
Yeah, I think so. Breath Edge or something, yeah.
Yeah,
that sort of vibe.
That was wacky. But
it was wacky, but it had some really intense like survival stuff of managing your oxygen and your your boosters and different things.
while it
Your
being
fuel.
hilarious as well,
Yeah. So I kind of like that. You're the janitor down in this deep sea thing, and it is about like, you could have some survival stuff of finding resources and crafting stuff to, I need to, finally connect up to the old, the old section that's been disconnected for ages, but now I've got the resources to rebuild that pipe or whatever, rebuild that tube and get through there to the old equipment.
And I think you could really have some things kind of like one of my favorite of the weird in-between period between, when you knew David Tennant was leaving Doctor Who and Matt Smith was coming in, but they did those movies, and they had Waters of Mars, where, David Tennant was on Mars, and then you had those people who were, sort of taken over by the water, and then they had that weird cracked mouth that they were spewing water everywhere.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah, I kind of see it as, water always wins is one of the things that like the cool idea of, you can keep this going for as long as you can, but at some stage the water and pressure is going to win because man-made stuff is just not that good.
I do like that idea of just the inevitability of the crushing weight of the ocean above you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And, doing your best to keep that going. And all you got to do is get through to next week, and it's 7 days away, and it's like, get through however you need to get through.
I like that. And you're like having to like plug and reinforce areas as they start to collapse from the pressure.
And because this is literally about to be decommissioned, but, They couldn't send down the submersible until the storm had cleared, and on the forecast that's next week.
There were a couple of fucking billionaires who took the last one and tried to see the Titanic, and it like imploded. So they had to, commission a new one.
There's something about that is just keep it going. You can save so you don't have to do the whole thing over and over again from the start. But
no. It's not like a permanent thing. I think it's just that survival aspect and keeping on top of it, and spinning plates as you so often are, and just like keeping your supplies up, keeping morale up. Like I think there's definitely a human element to it for the people who are left down there.
How many people do you reckon?
To start with.
I'm just talking about the crew. There's obviously yourself, and there's probably 4 or 5 others.
I mean, I think you end up with
someone from on top that you communicate with.
Yeah,
like
I was
the
thinking
chief
when you start, there's like I don't know 20 people, and then like 12 of them are killed
in an intro sequence,
or like in an early sequence.
Yeah.
And it's ambiguous as to whether or not it was your fault, which really then creates a tension between the rest of the remaining crew. But then, I think the sort of captain or director of the facility, you've got some scientists, you've got someone who is like the chef or something, like someone who's just another kind of amenities staff member.
Oh, I really love this.
But that's cool. And I love that idea of setting it at the end of this facility's lifetime.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no more money coming from the government on this. Like,
no.
If you haven't done the science that you were going to do, it's done. And I think some of the scientists are like, we've still got so much to do down here. Like, there's so much to discover.
The intro is they've sent down the submersible. People start getting in, and there was a collapse in that particular area, and it ruined that submersible and killed 12 people. And it's like, that was supposed to be the end of this thing. So it's really on its last legs. It's lasting 7 days more than what we planned, and they are.
Yeah, I love that idea of you're getting these reports of this was never meant to last this long.
No.
it's like nobody was supposed to be in this thing. Like the goal was actually to just
Get
let
out
it
3 months
collapse under
ago.
the pressure of the ocean so that we don't have to spend money on doing it safely and properly, but nobody was supposed to be down here.
Yeah.
And now that pressure is,
The pressure is on in more than one way.
the heat is on. That's where Flamin' Hot comes in.
Exactly.
I think that's the end of our episode.
It is. That was a good ending.
Yeah, it was good. So thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm, the very first of season 2. We might do things a bit differently from now on. We might not. Who knows?
Who knows?
We'll see how we go, but
The season's our oyster. This is the season of change.
That's it. Or not.
Or not. This is the season of experimentation.
Freedom season.
Did we experiment? No. That was our experiment.
So, if this was your first episode, hope you enjoyed it. Stick with us, see what we do. If this was your 400 and something episode,
stick with it.
Cool. Keep listening, please. And also say hi, because we don't know if you're out there. But yeah, if you want to find all those previous episodes, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. And they're all there for your listening and reviewing pleasure.
Okay. And if you like the song that we play at the start and end of the episode, as long as we've still kept it, I don't know at this stage. That song is called Mad Defiance of a Containment Failure by the band Cryptid. We were part of Cryptid many, many years ago. And yeah, we thought we'd keep that song going, or we didn't.
Well, we didn't. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
Insert new sign off here.